I'm Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Ghosts Christmas Special preview event at the BFI South Bank in London, and I went to this last year and I did a review on it, which you can find up here somewhere. And yes, I'm going to do another review. So I'm going to talk about my stress of getting the tickets, the event itself, the Q&A, how much I like the Christmas special. It's going to be very spoiler free, don't worry. But I will say if you haven't seen series 4, then probably don't watch this video because I'm going to be going into some stuff they talked about in the Q&A, and they did talk about some things that happened in season 4. So if you haven't seen that, then please don't watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you. And I'm also going to talk about what it was like meeting the cast. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So yes, as I said, I had some stress getting the tickets, and if you follow me on Twitter, then you would have seen that I posted that I didn't get tickets in the first time round. So if you don't know how the BFI ticketing system works, so there is a general sale, which you don't have to be a member to get tickets at, but a few days before that there is a members pre-sale. So if you're a member with the BFI, then you get to go into the pre-sale, and last year it sold out in this members sale. So I knew I was needing to get there like ASAP really. But I'm pretty sure last year I bought tickets like the day after because I debated whether or not to buy a membership, but then people were saying they were selling quite quickly. So I caved, bought the membership and got tickets. This year my membership, I was still a valid member without having to renew when the tickets went on sale, which was quite nice. So I just put a reminder in my phone, and yeah, when the reminder went off, I was at work and I couldn't step away to go and buy tickets. So I had to wait, and I was about half an hour, 45 minutes late to getting tickets. And by the time I got there, they'd all sold out. So I think it took about half an hour for all the tickets to sell out. I saw on Twitter that lots of other people had this issue. Even after 5-10 minutes after the tickets went on sale, all the good seats had gone, which is ridiculous, as I said. So people started to wonder how many tickets had been released and how they'd sold out so quickly. People were hopeful and said maybe they kept some seats for the general sale. Spoiler alert, they didn't. But what a few people found out, I'll put the screenshots from Twitter on here now. But what people found out is that there was actually a pre-sale for champion members, who were people who donate to the BFI regularly, and so they got to buy tickets before members did, and this was not made clear to anybody buying tickets. And I think it was just very bad from the BFI to have to say members are the first ones getting to buy tickets, and then that's not the case. So obviously a big block of the tickets has to be taken out for the cast who are watching the event, because they need somewhere to sit, and for their friends and family and anybody that the BFI has invited. But apparently, yeah, so I think around a third of the tickets were gone before the member sale even happened. And yeah, I just think that's really bad, because if my membership hadn't gone up until whenever this ticket date sale was, then I probably would have rebought the membership, which was 40 quid. So yeah, I imagine there would have been people who did buy a membership to be able to get into the members pre-sale and then probably didn't get tickets. So yeah, I just thought that was a bit unfair. So I did manage to get tickets, thankfully, and that was because a lovely viewer who watches my channel called Annabelle DM'd me and let me know that she saw there were some tickets online to buy. And I was actually walking home from work in the dark, and I saw the message and I instantly went onto the website and I managed to get tickets, which was insane. Yeah, I don't know how those tickets were on there. I don't know. And maybe people were just returning the occasional ones. There were train strikes announced for the opposite, the days before and after the event. So no train strikes on the actual day, but obviously it would have been affected. So I reckon people didn't want to travel or couldn't travel, so then decided to give their tickets back. I did end up meeting Annabelle and her friend Hannah at the event, and they were very, very lovely. It was so nice to meet you. Sorry if I was a bit awkward. I'm not the best at meeting new people, but yeah, you're wonderful. And again, yeah, thank you so much for letting me know that there were tickets on sale, because yeah, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to go. Weirdly, we ended up sitting next to each other at the event, which was really cool. So yeah, that was just really awesome. And they had awesome t-shirts that said written by Ben Willbond. Loved it. And yeah, it was such a great event. And let's move away from the negative ticket issues to what the event was. So let's get into just a quick little spoiler-free review of the new Christmas episode. So the way the BFI works is they show two episodes. Last year it was a like viewer selected episode, so we all voted for what episode we wanted to show, and then it was the new Christmas episode. This year they showed the Christmas episode from 2019, I think, but it's the first one where Mike's family come over to Button House and stay for Christmas. It's a very good episode, that one, and I think they did a good job of choosing that one to show before the new one. I just think there were things that flowed really well throughout the two episodes, and yeah, it was just a good idea. I would recommend watching that episode before the new Christmas one. I mean, watch all of the Christmas episodes, why not? But yeah, I think it works very well. Now, this new Christmas episode was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. I would say it's definitely my favourite Christmas episode, and it is definitely up there for one of my favourite episodes ever. Like, it could potentially be my favourite one ever. It was amazing. It was perfect. It was exactly the type of thing we want from Ghosts. It was so good. It was funny. Oh, it was so funny. And I'd be going from like laughing my head off 1 minute to like almost crying the next, because it was so emotional. And we got good character like exploration. We got good character development. Oh, we got some lovely moments between characters. Perfect. But yeah, that is all I'm going to say on that. Definitely watch it on Christmas Day. And one of the things that I don't think I mentioned in my video, but when I went to tour Button House, or West Elsie Place, the woman who gave us the tour, she's like in charge of all the like entertainment stuff. So she was on set and she was told that the episode was so good. That's why it's been put on Christmas Day. And she actually told us that before it was announced that it was going on Christmas Day. So yeah, it deserves to be on Christmas Day. It is such a brilliant episode, and it's no surprise that, the BBC loved it that much, because yeah, it is just perfect. So on to the Q&A. So the Q&A actually started, or did the whole event, I can't remember when it came in, but it was the director of comedy for the BBC came and like presented a bit, talked about Ghosts a bit, which that was really cool. But yeah, he wasn't really involved that much in the actual Q&A. The Q&A was led by the same man who led it last year, and I complimented him loads last year. I thought he was really good, and he was really good this year as well. And I didn't know his name last year, but his name is Justin Johnson. Yeah, I think he's a really good Q&A person. I think he does a really good job of balancing the questions, asking a good variety of questions, and giving like pointed questions to certain people. Because when we've got something like Ghosts, where 6 of the people there are, oh no, 5, because I haven't mentioned this yet, but Simon was ill and he couldn't go, so we got almost all of the cast, and I was really hoping Katy Wix would make an appearance, but unfortunately she didn't. But that's fair enough. But yeah, Simon didn't go, unfortunately, because yeah, he was ill. So when you've got like 5 of the cast there who are involved in the creation and the writing of the show, a lot of the questions are kind of directed at them like inadvertently, because they're asking about how do you do storylines, like how do you develop characters. So they're all towards the writers of the show. So I think he did a really good job of mixing those questions and then asking like Lolly, like, oh, how do you feel about Kitty's development, and how do you feel about this, and do you have any say in certain things? And they asked like Kiell, like, how difficult is it to not laugh at the ghosts because they're being funny but you can't see them. So he's done a very good job of that, and asking them questions that we want to hear the answers to. So he got them to like 100% confirm that Series 5 was happening. Again, I thought this was already confirmed, but they do joke that it's the worst kept secret. I think they are supposed to be saving that announcement. I don't know who announced it first, but yes, Season 5 definitely happening. Amazing, what I wanted. They also talked about the future for Ghosts. So a lot of people believe that Season 5 will be its last. I'm not sure. I think they could keep going. I think they all really love the show, so I definitely think that they'll keep doing it. They did say that they would love to keep doing Ghosts, but there does come a time where it's going to have to stop, because they will age out of their characters. They will become too old to play Ghosts, because they're supposed to be stuck at that age. They did joke that the only exception would be Fanny, because Martha's playing somebody like older than her, so that they could keep do a little spin-off about Fanny's life, which I would like that. That'd be funny. And Charlotte said that she loves it so much that she would happily spend the rest of her life just going to West Horsey Place for 6 months of the year and acting in Ghosts. They did talk about Mary as well, so if you haven't seen series 4, stop watching this video. They talked a lot about Mary and the decision to have her be moved on, and this, I haven't actually heard too much about this, but they started off talking about it was a very amicable decision, and apparently it was basically because Katy Wix was just too busy to do the show anymore. And she felt it was time for her to move on, really, which is really sad, but I definitely understand that. She's just published a book that's doing really well, and she's a very busy woman, but yeah, so she couldn't commit to another full series. And they did talk about the chance that she wouldn't have been able to commit to even half the series as she did, which that would have sucked if she couldn't do any of it. But no, she did do over half the series, but that does explain why in certain episodes, like the Sorry Song episode, why she was kind of just out of the way. So I guess they had to write it in a way that she was kind of outside a little bit so that they could adapt to Katy's busy schedule. But yeah, they talked about all of the decisions, the decision to have it happen suddenly at the beginning of an episode rather than have a build up to it, because then they talked about how things can happen just immediately, which as I talked about in my review, I thought it was a really good decision to do that. They also talked a little bit about how they develop scripts and ideas, and how they turn one idea into a full series arc. So they talk about how they develop the first arc initially. So they do the full series arc first, and then they build on the individual stories in between, which I think is a very sensible way of doing it, and it works very well. But yeah, it was interesting to get an insight on how they do develop a series. I really liked that. And certain things with character developments, whether they think other characters will move on. I don't think they're going to do that. Maybe one or two if somebody gets extremely busy or can't do it anymore for whatever reason, but I don't think they're going to end the series with everybody moving on. I just don't personally see that happening. But yeah, after the initial Q&A, they then moved into the audience Q&A, and so people in the audience could ask questions. I didn't ask one. I was tempted to ask Kiell about something about Taskmaster, but I really wanted to, but then I just got really nervous, so I didn't put my hand up, and loads of people had their hands up, so I probably wouldn't have got picked anyway because I was right at the back. The other people who asked questions did a really good job as well. There was questions, funny questions, what was their go-to meal deal order. Somebody asked what their favourite bloopers were, and that was just funny, just seeing all the love come from everybody else, and how funny they find each other. So I really enjoyed that. They were all just laughing and talking about funny things, and that's what I love to see. Oh yeah, one thing that I found really interesting was somebody asked about whether there'd be a potential crossover between the UK Ghosts and the CBS Ghosts. Obviously they haven't seen series 2 because they would have known that Matt guest starred in the American Ghosts. Obviously it wasn't a proper crossover, but yeah, they talked about that, and apparently they actually did reach out to Jim first about whether or not he would want to do that role. They didn't really go into why Jim turned it down, but he just didn't want to do it. I mean, he's very busy as well, he's in sex education as well, and other things, so he's busy, so maybe he just didn't want to. But yeah, apparently he was in the same room as Matt, and then when Jim turned it down, then 20 minutes later Matt got the offer and Matt agreed to do it. So it was really fun hearing about that, and hearing him trying to explain so I was playing an actor playing Pete, who is an American version of Pat, and he just explained it in a really, really roundabout way. And yeah, so that was really fun. They didn't really talk about the American Ghosts too much, but yeah, it was interesting to hear that about Jim turning it down. It would have been, I don't know whether I would have preferred Jim to play him or not, because I think that's more of a direct crossover. It would have been really meta though if he did, but I think it worked that Matt played him. I think it works better. It would have been fun seeing Jim play him though as well. The Q&A does normally become available a few days, I think after the Christmas episode is actually released officially. So yeah, you can watch the Q&A. I'm not going to say everything that they said because yeah, you can still watch it online. They do record it, which I think is a really good idea. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention is when we were sitting down, all of the cast was sitting 4 rows in front of me, which was insane. I could see the back of like Charlotte, Kiell's and Larry's head when I was watching Ghosts, which was so funny. I loved it. But yeah, after the audience Q&A, there was a little surprise for all the cast members, and that was all the little like knitted figures of the ghosts. These are by the Assistant Knitting Banksy, and so yeah, I saw these online a few months ago or something like that, and Larry actually said on a radio show that he really liked them, and they surprised the cast by bringing them in. That was a really nice surprise for both the cast and the audience as well, so yeah, that was great. But yeah, overall a really fantastic experience. It lasted about 90 minutes, and we did get a little like pamphlet thing, which yeah, I completely missed. I don't know if there was one last year, but I walked straight past it. It was only because I saw other people with it that I started looking at where it was. And so it gives like a little description about each cast member. I don't know why, maybe people who don't know who they are, but everybody who was there, I think, knew who they were. But yeah, the event lasted 90 minutes, which I don't know whether that was longer than last year or shorter. I think it felt a bit shorter, but that might be because I've experienced it like, well, kind of the same thing before. So yeah, it was a really fun experience. Again, I would definitely recommend going if there is another chance to, but I know that is very difficult saying because of how quickly the tickets sold out. But yeah, it was a really good experience. Everybody I saw around looked like they were having a lot of fun, and that's what it's all about. And last but certainly not least, I want to talk about my experience meeting the cast. So after this event, I have officially met the entire cast apart from Katy Wix. So very grateful for that. Yeah, just a fantastic experience. So I did what I did last year. I was a bit more strategic because last year I wasn't really aware that there was a chance to meet the cast, so I didn't bring anything to give them or to sign, anything like that. So last year I got a picture with Jim and then a couple of signatures from Kiell and Simon on the little BFI booklet that I had. This year I was a bit more strategic, as I said. So when I went to West Saucy Place, I brought these cute little Christmas cards, which I've got right here. So they're just really cute, of Button House or West Saucy Place. So I bought them, and I thought it would be a really good idea to try and get the cast members to sign it and have it as a little memorabilia forever. Yeah, as I said, went with a bit of a strategy, and I did pretty much the same as I did last year in the terms of I waited kind of by the entrance to see them arrive, which I did see Jim, Matt and Larry arrive. But they seemed like a bit of a rush. The BFI members came and escorted them to where they need to be. They waved, they said hi, but there was an opportunity to go and get anything signed there. Then Charlotte arrived, and again it seemed like she was going to get whisked away, but there were some people there signing things, so I was like, okay, here's my chance. And other people went as well, got things signed, got pictures. So people were giving out like little chocolates as well, which I thought was really nice. They gave her a bunch of cards, so I was like, do you mind signing my card? And she did. She was very lovely. She only stayed for about 5 minutes, so I got in at the right time. I was very lucky with that. And yeah, so then she got whisked away. She apologised and said that there'll be a chance to meet everybody later. So with that in mind, I was like, okay, we're good. I don't need to stress about this as much, because last year, that's where I met most people. I met them before the event. So I thought that'd be the case this year, but they obviously anticipated that we'd be there. So they moved. Yeah, so they did kind of speed up that bit and set aside more time for the cast members to sign stuff afterwards. So yeah, so after the event, I went to outside the little stage door place. So it's still inside the BFI building, but it's like where they go beforehand for like press things, to have drinks with their like friends and like celebrate and stuff like that. So I waited outside there, and I knew it'd be there because that's where it was last year. And because I was at the back and at the end, I did get there quite early because I was one of the first ones to leave the building, like the theatre, the cinema. So yeah, I was the first ones to leave. So I did get there pretty early, so I was quite near the front, which was quite lucky. So they let out all of their family members first so they could leave, and then the cast members came out afterwards. This was a bit chaotic. I was just kind of waiting for a bit, because even though I got there quite early, there were still loads of people who got there before me. But yeah, so I was waiting outside there. And I could see them. They were there just signing stuff, taking pictures. So the first person I met this time, I don't know who it was, maybe, I don't know. I remember Matt being right there for a while, but just being so busy that he couldn't sign anything for me. Like, he was taking pictures with so many people, so I was like, okay, leave Matt for a bit. I know there was a chance with Jim. I didn't get to chat to him, but I saw he was kind of standing there, so I was like, do you mind just signing this for me, please? And he did. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I talked to him last year, so yeah, I had that experience anyway, so I was very happy with that. Martha and Lolly somehow just appeared kind of right next to where I was, so I managed to get my thing signed by them quite easily. I had a little chat with Martha about the tour at West Horsey Place, because obviously she saw the card, asked where it was from, so that was really nice. She said it sounded really good, and she was like, oh, maybe I'll make a surprise appearance one day, and said that she should go. So that was really great. Lolly, I talked to her about how great she was in the Christmas episode. I'm not going to go into too much what I spoke about with Lolly. Kiell, I talked about Taskmaster, so basically was just like, I'm so excited to see you in Taskmaster, like, you're going to be amazing. And yeah, he was like, oh, it's going to be a long wait, and I was like, it'll be worth it. So that was really, really nice. And then afterwards, I did manage to get my thing signed by Matt. That, again, very rushed. I didn't get a chance to say anything to him. And then Ben and Larry were the last ones. Like, they were quite far away, and so I just kind of scooped around, because everybody there had got things signed, but they were kind of like still trapped, so people were just going towards them rather than them moving on. So with Larry, what did I manage to... Yeah, so Larry, I talked to you about the how much I liked We Are Not Alone, because yeah, he was there, and I think it was Larry that I would kind of given up on getting something signed by him, because he was kind of near where I was for a while, but the lady who was kind of stopping people from like getting too close or for like cutting in, she was like, you need to be a bit more ruthless, like keep moving it. And like there was a little boy right next to me, and I was just like, oh, like go over there, like see if you can get him to sign it there. And the lady was like, oh, I got you. So she brought Larry over to get the thing signed, to sign the little boy's thing, and while he was there, he signed my thing as well. So that was very nice. I really appreciate the lady there for helping. And then we both actually, me and the little boy, went over to Ben because he was over in the corner. And yeah, I talked to him again about the tour at West Horsey Place, because he, again, really liked the card. And also, Larry kept accidentally stealing everybody's pens, which I thought that was funny. So when he eventually did sign my card, he signed it in his own pen, which was a like gold pen. So that was really cool. And I'm very, very lucky that I got my thing signed by Charlotte before, because she kind of appeared like behind me, like quite far behind. So I don't know where she came from, but so yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get anything signed by Charlotte there. But yeah, it was very chaotic. I will say that everybody there like were very like respectful. Obviously people were eager and enthusiastic to go and meet them, but everybody was really respectful of everybody else. Like nobody was too pushy, which I think was really great. Like I know it sounds a lot and I bet it is for them, but everybody looked like they were having a good time. And yeah, as I said, people being respectful, people let me through when they'd got things signed, and it was kind of like I was near, and I let other people through. People were borrowing each other's pens, people were taking pictures for other people, so it was generally a very respectful thing. I don't know if everybody in the queue managed to get things signed, because as I said, the queue was so long, it was so much longer than last year. So yeah, I really hope everybody at least got to meet somebody. I just got very, very lucky in the fact that where I was sat in the theatre meant that I got a good place in the line. And so yeah, this is what I got signed. I'll probably include a little picture as well, but I've got everybody apart from Simon on here, but I have got a signature from Simon from last year, but yeah, not on the card. But yeah, so I am very, very grateful. And again, massive thank you to Annabelle and Hannah for telling me about the tickets. I've never actually met anybody like a viewer before. So again, as I said, it was a very sweet experience. So yeah, that was really cool. And again, as I said, it was very nice to meet you both. And yeah, it was just such a fantastic night. I really enjoyed it. And yes, I don't want this to come across as kind of like bragging, because it was... I do feel very lucky for that experience. I'm very lucky that I live like an hour and a half away from London, that I can even get to the event in the first place. And I'm very lucky. It's just like the stars collided and I just managed to be in a spot where I could meet everybody. So yeah, I think that's kind of everything I want to say. I definitely recommend checking out the Q&A when they release it, because it was a really insightful Q&A and really fun as well. And yes, that is kind of everything I want to say about my experience at the event. As I said, I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful that I even managed to get to go and that I managed to meet the cast. But yeah, if you like this video, then please give it a like, it's really appreciated, and comment down below what your experience was if you managed to go this year. And yeah, if you want to see more videos to do with ghosts, then please subscribe and I'll have some more videos out for you soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!